Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, I did want us to talk about this specific topic because I've seen people drop some videos on this specific interviews, but they didn't address this specific topic. And, you know, we take a different angle when we talk about the sport of boxing here on AM Sports Media. And so I wanted to address this. But before we get into this video, I do want to welcome you all back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you are a visitor of the channel, you've been here for quite some time, but you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And no, by the way, while you're at it, make sure you smash the like button so other people can find this great content. Jay, Terence Crawford is around here doing interviews, my man. And of course, he's doing Terence Crawford things, contradicting himself at every turn. Now, I'm not going to say he totally contradicted himself. Honestly, there were some things that Terence Crawford said in this interview that I did agree with. There were some other things that he did, Terence Crawford things, where he completely contradicted himself. But that's what Terence Crawford does. And of course, when you call Terence Crawford out for contradicting himself, you get labeled a hater. But I digress. Let's talk about what he said specifically in regards to Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson, or better said, what he did not say about Shakur Stevenson. Now, he was asked a specific question, and that question was his top 5 pound for pound in the sport of boxing. Now, he was asked several questions. He was asked about his top 5 pound for pound in history, which he made some comments that didn't make any sense in regards to one specific fighter that was on his pound for pound list, but then making comments about Errol Spence in regards to Spence not being a Hall of Famer. Spence is not a Hall of Famer because he's only been in weight class yet. Marvelous Marvin Hagler is an all-time pound for pound top 5 fighter for him who was only in one weight class. Doesn't make any sense. But again, I digress.
Yeah, it's Crawford.
It's Crawford. Let's talk about what he said in regards to the top 5 pound for pound fighters in the sport today. And I'm not going to give you guys the list. I'm going to let you hear it for yourself. Here we go. This is what Terence Crawford had to say.
Pound for pound right now.
We got me. We got Inoue, we got Canelo, we got Usyk.
That's 4.
Did you put Davis in there?
Stop giving him his. Whoa! Let my man give his list.
But you got to, man. Still no. Like he's.
We can put Tank in there.
See?
Who you struggling with though?
Tank? Tank is in your top 5.
Not top
Tank.
10.
Gervonta
10.
Davis. Top 5. But what about your little brother? Because you told me that your little brother was going to handle business when he got in the ring with Gervonta Davis. We have heard you laud your little brother's skills in terms of his defensive capabilities, his overall skill set, his ability to make a miss and make him pay. Right? But yet, he wasn't the first thing that came to your mind. It was Gervonta Davis. You put Gervonta Davis there? Why? And don't tell me because the guy brought him up. Because the first name that should have come to your mind was Shakur Stevenson. Period.
Or Keyshawn Davis.
And if Gervonta Davis was not even someone who positioned, because according to many boxing fans, they tell us that he hasn't fought a world champion. He's a 30-year-old prospect. Yet you got the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the sport, according to many of you, saying that he's in his top pound for pound in the sport of boxing. How is that possible?
5.
Jay, I need you to tell me how that's possible. Tell me how it's possible.
It's crazy, man. It's like they didn't even say Tank or Gervonta. They said Davis. So he could even go into Keyshawn Davis.
Could have.
He could have gone to Keyshawn. But he said he thought about it, Tank. But to your point, I'm like, your default should have been your little brother. Should have been your little brother that you say is the best at 135. At least one of the two guys you like at 135, whether it's Keyshawn or Shakur. But you said Tank. Not in the top 10, top 5 pound for pound. Now we know all these lists that just came out recently after the Tank Davis Lamont Roach fight. They removed Tank out of the top 10. Majority of these lists did that. Space to the Ring, ESPN. You know, we know how they kind of roll anyways against PBC fighters for the most part anyway. But they yanked them out and they put Devin Haney in a couple of those lists of the top 10. But number one pound for pound fight in the world, Bud Crawford, has Tank in his top 5. Not Kerr, not David Benavidez, not who else? Not Bivol, not Beterbiev, not Keyshawn Davis.
Bivol would have been an easy pick, right? Bivol would have been an easy pick.
Easy, right?
Since belts matter so much, right?
He picked the guy that just had a draw with Lamont Roach, who people talk bad about, although we said Lamont Roach is going to be a tough customer for Tank, and it's going to be a good fight, as it was. And he put Tank in his top 5. Don't be mad at us. Be mad at your favorite fighter in Bud Crawford for putting him in top 5. So now y'all chew on that.
Yeah. Could have easily picked Bivol. Bivol was an easy pick because belts means everything, according to many boxing fans. It's all about the belts. Although Terence Crawford also mentioned in this interview that belts don't really mean anything once you get to a certain point. And I'm assuming that when he says a certain point, that means that you have ascended to a point where you don't need belts to actually promote you. You promote yourself. So someone like a Gervonta Davis doesn't need belts to actually articulate to fight fans who and what he is. Someone like Terence Crawford doesn't need belts to articulate who and what he is, although no one knows who he is outside of the sport of boxing, so maybe he does need a belt. Oh, I rolled that back. I'm sorry. That's incorrect, actually. He does need belts. That's why his fans always talk about belts. But at the end of the day, to the point that we are making, he is choosing a guy that just had a very challenging fight with Lamont Roach, and no longer is in the pound for pound list. Is a guy that many fight fans are saying that he is this, he's that. He has not fought a world champion. He's a 30-year-old prospect. And you got Shakur Stevenson that all these fight fans are around here on Twitter salivating over
And
his ability to defense you to death. Go ahead.
And Bud don't like Tank.
Oh.
He don't like the guy. And he put him in the top 5.
Ooh, that's nuts. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy, guys.
Make it make sense.
What are these? What do they say? That's nasty work. Is that the appropriate word? I should nasty work. That's nasty work. You guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to this. And I'm going to add one more thing before we move off of this topic, Jay. There was a question asked to Terence Crawford when he was overseas. I believe it was a part of that Riyadh card when Bivol and Beterbiev was about to fight. And they asked him specifically what would be the outcome between Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis. And he said, I believe my little brother ended up doing what he needs to do. He did not say that he was going to win. To me, he showed hesitation. I do not believe that he is totally confident that Shakur Stevenson wins, and that's the reason why Gervonta Davis is in his top 5. You guys let us know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast and Sports Media, and we are out.